Hello guys, this is Gold eGamer back with another video. It's been a bit long since I've been trying to get this video out. Seems like forever that I recorded it, but a lot of things have been going on and I haven't got round to it. But I woke up today and thought I'd finally get it done, so here we are. So, as the video says, it's going to be an update video on Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Again, coming out next year. And I'll pretty much be picking up where I left off from the last video, so if you haven't seen that, then you should check that out and then maybe come back to this video. But what I really wanted to go through to start off with was that not long after my last video was uploaded, the news came out that Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate was still planned to come out on the 3DS only, which I have to say is a bitter disappointment to a lot of people. I know there are some people out there who are probably playing this on the 3DS anyway and it doesn't affect them, but us Wii U players, although I have both, we're really hoping for the Wii U to get it back, not only to help out the Wii U itself, because it is still having problems, but because, in my opinion, the winning methods of having this game out would be to have it on both consoles still, and to have them actually being able to interplay with each other, which I think was one of the ideas with the previous game, 3 Ultimate, but it didn't work out for whatever reason. I can't remember what I read, but I think, you know, for it to be available to all of its Nintendo players, so you could have it on the 3DS, which obviously means you can play it on the 2DS, and then have it on the Wii U as well. I don't see the harm in it. Just make another port to the Wii U, that's all I would ask. But somewhere down the line, the director for Monster Hunter production, I can't remember his name now, Ryozu something, said at the moment they're just concentrating on the 3DS. Now, whether that means at the moment is for now, and maybe they'll consider it before they bring it out, or at the moment just means that at the moment with the Monster Hunter franchise that's what they're going for. But I still think maybe one of Monster Hunter's last chances for a Wii U release is maybe the reception of Mario Kart 8 coming out next month. Or are we in now? No, it's May, so it's this month. So yeah, hopefully a lot of people will be buying more Wii U's, or people who have Wii U's will be buying that game. And sales will look up in general for the Wii U, and maybe we'll get something released at E3 later in the year. Who knows? Hopefully, but I'm not. I'd say I'm about 95% certain that it's going to just be a 3DS release now, which is, again, disappointing. But enough moaning about that. Since my last video, also a new trailer was released. I'm sure most, if not all, people who are waiting for the game to come out have seen it. But it shows a lot of new footage. And most of it is concentrated around the new desert area that I talked about in the last video, which is, I like to see. I think this is probably my favourite trailer for Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate so far, partly because it just looks pretty goddamn awesome really, but also because it proved me right on a couple of things that I was guessing about in terms of returning monsters, which was nice to have be verified, but also nice to just see. So if you didn't see my last video, like, again, maybe check it out, but this is the sort of things that I guessed and was right about. So the trailer begins with a desert shot, showing off the new base camp for the desert, and also a couple of the new areas as well. And we go straight into a shot of having Genprei walking around, which is good, and one of the returning monsters from the second generation, which I can't remember, one of the desert ones, which was a really annoying one. It's annoying also that I can't remember the name, but they're pretty much your desert Aptonoth, except that they're a bit more attacking as opposed to docile. With the Aptonoth you actually had to attack them for them to want to do something towards you, but these ones, as soon as they see you, they sort of chase you all around the map and get in your way sometimes. I remember a couple of Plesioth fights in the old Monster Hunter Freedom Unite desert, and they would just keep following you, and keep following you, and keep following you, until you just got rid of them, which you had to sort of do straight away, otherwise you were trying to deal with Plesioth with its awful hitbox and fight those things, whatever they are. Which, yeah, wasn't fun, but never mind. So the next shot we have is a few more shots of the desert, and an interesting shot of what looks like a cave opening into an area which has some sort of quicksand effect. Sort of like a spiraling sand pit, which does that mean? I'm thinking maybe if you got sucked into that, maybe you get dropped down into a different area, or you just get stuck and there's some way of getting out of it. Or maybe that's a certain area or a certain shot where a monster will turn out of eventually. Who knows? And then in the forefront of the screen, it seems like there's a purple crystal there for mining, just beyond it, so possibly a mining point. But interesting to see what this sand pit is, or what it could be. So it continues with Genprei, and we see Delix in the next shot going over some dunes, and also in the top left the return of weather balloons, which, if you weren't aware of, you can wave at. Use the greetings, and it will temporarily have a Psycho Serum effect, showing you the monster's location, helping you to track it down if you haven't managed to paintball it yet, or forgot to paintball it. And I'll be honest with you, I thought these were left out of 3 Ultimate. I can't remember seeing one the entire time I played it, but I had to look it up before I made this video, just to make sure I wasn't saying something that I was completely wrong about. But apparently they were in 3 Ultimate, but I completely missed them. Not that I was particularly looking for them, but I didn't see them. I didn't think that they were there, but never mind. They're in this game, that's what matters. So that is the whole point. That's what the weather balloon is for, if you haven't seen it there before. So continuing, we have rolling the credits for Capcom, and then bang, some Genprei gets completely owned by a Monobolos, and yeah, Monobolos is back. I was right. That's the first good guess that I've had. It looks like a normal Monobolos. It's not a white Monobolos, but I'm assuming what Monobolos has returned as Monobolos has in the first place, which is good to see. And then straight into the next shot we see Cephalos, one of the, well, the minion monsters for Cephadrome, another monster that I went over in the last video that I was hoping was coming back, or thought might come back, because there was a new desert region. So Cephadrome, again, you can see is desert area only, as it was in the past, and is still susceptible to the sonic bombs to get them out, because they are a bit of a pain, in fairness. A bit like with Plesioth in the old games, where he was just water and you couldn't actually access the water. This monster just stays under the sand. You have to get him up in order to fight him, otherwise you just got to stab at his fins while he's swimming past you, which wasn't that easy in the past. Might have been made easier, but again, sonic bombs, good to see that they still work. So it looks like he's got some new moves, etc. And the next shot, we see a return of Diablos. So again, Monobolos has returned, and Diablos was left out of the last game. But with a new desert region being added, here's Diablos again. Kind of glad to see him, slash her, with the Black Diablos coming back. Or I can't remember if the normal Diablos is actually female as well. I can't remember, doesn't matter. They're both here, again, as they were in the past, which is good to see. Didn't really want Monobolus to go away, but if it's coming back, Diablos, in my sense, had to come back as well. Otherwise it wouldn't really be a complete family, so to say. And after a couple of shots of seeing a little bit of fight sequence with Diablos, we see a new, well not a new monster, but another monster returning, which is Shogun Cyanator from previous games. Third generation gamers won't have seen this, but it's again coming back from generation 2 the last time we saw it. Which again looks like he's got some new moves. He's a couple of extra shots that go through. He's moving around while using his water jet instead of just being as static as he was in the past. And with the return of Shogun Cyanator, is it possible that Daimyo Hermitor is returning, which is the subspecies, or is it just a completely separate but similar species? I'm not sure. But the main difference between these two is that Shogun Cyanator uses water attacks, Daimyo Hermitor doesn't. And they have different skulls on the back of it. Shogun Cyanator, I believe, uses a Monobolus, which makes sense as Monobolus has returned. What did Daimyo Hermitor use? I can't remember. Some other skull. Is it Bizarrios? Or Gravios? Which again would make... maybe? If it is, then that would make sense, as they're also in this game. I can't remember. They're not in this video, the new trailer, Daimyo Hermitor, but who knows, might be. It might be something we just haven't seen yet. But if not, at least Shogun Cyanator is back and it's got some new moves. The next shot is in the sandy area, not sandy area, snowy area, still early, sorry. But this is the first shot of this new trailer that's not set in the desert. It's in the frozen area. I can't remember what it's called now, so I'm terrible for remembering the names of the areas. But it is a serpent-like monster, which I believe was in the game already. And I'm not sure, as I've glimpsed the monster before, but I think this might be a subspecies that is possibly specific to the colder areas. Possibly. The last one I saw, I think it was in the grassy area, whatever that one's called. The sort of equivalent of Mogul Woods Deserted Island for this game, which is like the base area, first area you go into. This looks like a subspecies that might be in colder regions. Maybe it's all green and purple. I don't think the last one was. And I don't think it used ice. A couple of the next shots, again a monster I don't really know much about. Again, I haven't gone through, I didn't go through the brand new monsters in my last video because I don't want to know too much about them. Just, I'm aware of their presence in the game, I don't want to know everything about them. So we've got that, and then we have a new shot of an amphibious, or the amphibious type monster that was again in the frozen area in the last game. This appears to be maybe in the last trailer, sorry, this appears to be a somewhat smaller version in the desert. So again, another probably a subspecies that is specific to the hotter region. And get a couple of attacks of that, and you can see it has a water attack. And then we go back to the frozen area, I think. And we have a couple of extra shots of the monsters that were new to the old game, or new to Monster Hunter 4. You have a really good shot actually. Sorry, I'm rambling on. I'm still tired. Let's wake myself up. Got a new shot of the monster that was swinging on the spider web sort of thing, attacking and paralysing the hunter, and then we go back into another shot of Monoblos for a couple of extra turns, new frames, and then we sort of roll off into another shot of sort of wide shot of the desert. You see your felines again, see some of their extra skills that they've got now. I see some shots of red Kezu, and a really interesting shot actually, which is gonna be really good for some people, especially me actually, and some of my friends. You see a fellow hunter, obviously on multiplayer or co-op, upswinging a fellow hunter, and then that hunter going straight into an attack on top of red Kezu. Now this is really good because obviously it brings an actual use to being upswung, as opposed to it just being a great annoyance at times, you know, when you get upswung by a switch axe or a hammer or a great sword, and then actually you can turn it into attack. So somewhat like when you jump off a ledge and it becomes an attack, when you get upswung you can turn that into an attack. And I think from what we were seeing on the footage in the video, you can actually then from that attack stay on the monster's back. So it's sort of an all-in-one transition, as opposed to you get upswung and then you attack and go past the monster, you can actually land on the monster as well. So that's good to see. A lot of new mechanics for this game, sort of, because the gameplay, you have to be fair. I love Monster Hunter franchise as a whole, but it has very outdated mechanics, such as well, from the looks of it, you still can't jump without having to jump off a ledge. That's still something that's missing, which I think, don't know, maybe it should be introduced at some point, maybe in the next generation game. Not that I could see much use for just jumping, but you know, just having the ability to jump is a normal movement for people. So why can't, you know, the hunters have been unable to jump in forever. So would we please be able to jump? Maybe? I don't know. So a couple of extra shots after that. I see some more attacks in the desert and the frozen area, which is really what this video has been this new trailer has been concentrated on. And it would appear, I'm not sure, but after the sort of upswing attack on the red Kezu, you get a shot of a poison weapon and then hammer weapon, and then it looks like a longsword and then a hammer again. But it looks like with the longsword, I'm not sure whether it's an affinity slash, it looks like it is, but it looks like the affinity colours, you know, when you hit a monster and you do that extra damage because of the affinity you have. You used to, in the old games in 3 Ultimate, you would get a bright pink flash for if you were doing positive affinity, so doing more of an attack, and then if you were doing negative affinity you would have sort of a deep purple. From what we can see in that shot, it appears that it's become much more crimsony with a bright red flash, if that is indeed the affinity effect now. So it looks like they've changed the colour. A lot of people I know thought the colours for affinity have been a bit badly done, that bright pink should have been negative affinity and dark purple should have been positive affinity, because that actually looked like the better effect. But it looks like they've changed the colour completely now, so it looks like we've got this sort of red colour for affinity now, which, whether that's positive or negative, I'm not sure. I'm just going to guess it's positive, and that negative is some sort of darker colour, again a darker flash. But we have a couple of extra shots. We have a really spiky hammer, which I think we saw earlier in the trailer, and then a great sword, and then we go back to the desert. And this is a really good shot, and another new mechanic that's again showing that the gameplay for Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate has been upgraded. And we see a tiger, I think that's the subspecies for Tigrex, apparently sleeping on the floor, or maybe it's dead on the floor. What was it in the later shots? No, I think it was sleeping. And you see the hunter swinging from tree to tree, and that's really good. How he got up onto the tree in the first place, because it appears that it stands alone. Have a look again. the hunter jumps from somewhere, maybe a ledge, onto a downward leaf or set of leaves from a palm tree, and then it swings to the next palm tree and then attack on the Tigrex. That's really good. That's a new mechanic that I'm quite glad is in there now. Not that I was completely sort of expecting that type of attack style, but again, it's nice to see that the gameplay or the movability of the hunter's been upgraded somewhat, because just sort of, you know, running around an area and that being your only method of attack, obviously from Monster Hunter 4 we knew that you could jump off a ledge and attack. I'm not sure whether the whole upswing and attack and this sort of climbing on the leaves, sort of swinging from one to the next, was in Monster Hunter 4. Maybe it was, I'm not sure, but it's in this game nevertheless, and that's the one that's coming to the west, so that's the one I'm interested in. And so we have a couple of extra shots of desert shots with Zeth and Monoblos, Shogun Siantor and Diablos. And then we come sort of near to the end of the trailer. But one of the final things that I saw in the trailer was there is this one. What's this? Looks like a lance or something, and it has some sort of green effect. And as far as I'm aware, I don't know of an ailment that does green damage or green status, so I don't know whether that's the feral wyvern virus or whether that's the new updated look to slime. Not sure. Obviously slime would be the closest thing to it, but that was a much brighter green than the last game. But again, with this game, it's not just Brachydios that can access the slime attacks, also one of the Tigrex subspecies, I can't remember which one it is now, the black or the rare subspecies, I think it's a rare, can also do slime attacks, so maybe the slime has been sort of updated in its visuals to also be able to use by Tigrex now, and that's why it has this new effect, or whether that is a different ailment altogether. It might be the wyvern virus, so I think that's black. But anyway, we come to sort of the credits for Monster Hunter 4 G/Ultimate, and then we have a shot of Raytheon having a look around, going to sleep at the end. The hunter sort of tries to creep up with the greatsword, and then in comes this black-winged wyvern, which I believe is Gore Magala. Again, in my last video I'd mentioned there was Gore Magala and it's well, not subspecies, but it's sort of a further evolved version, a white version, which is actually the final boss in the game in Monster Hunter 4. This is, I think, the village boss, final boss, I think, and then the other one is the port boss. Oh, not the port, but what is the port in this next game? And then it sort of looks back and has this menacing look about it, and it looks pretty badass, to be fair. It looks like it was just about to completely cream Raytheon, in all fairness. But that is the end of the trailer, and it's pretty much the end of what I wanted to talk about in this video. I know I've sort of rambled on somewhat. I did wake up extra early to do this before I went to work, unfortunately. But that is the new trailer, and also the extra news that it's just going to be a 3DS release as of yet. Again, that's disappointing, but I won't go much further on that. I've talked enough about it. But it's good to see that I was right about a couple of things that are coming into this game. Cephadrome, Monoblos, Diablos is coming back, and Shogun Siantor, which I wasn't expecting, in all fairness. That's come back from the second generation as well. Again, like I said, whether we see Daimyo Hermitor is another matter, but he wasn't a desert region monster, I don't think. I know he was in the swamp and the volcano region in Freedom United. I can't remember if he was in any other regions. I don't think he was. But he had an annoying attack, like Shogun Seanator does, of coming up from the ground sometimes. In terms of other monsters that we might see coming back, I know we've still got sort of 11 months till this game comes out. 10, 11 months. So it's possible some extra monsters could come back. I've heard people wondering whether because Zeth Agnagun is coming back, whether Plesioth will come back because they're similar. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, because of what I spoke before in the last video about this materials exchange thing that they have in this new game, whether you can exchange, whether it is maybe resource points for monster parts, but also for monster parts from monsters that aren't even in the game, like Plesioth. Or, I don't know, Plesioth is also in this game, but it's just something that you sort of fish, which is like a really weird mechanic, but I have no idea what that's about yet. But apparently you can fish Plesioth out, and that's the only involvement he had in the game. Maybe he'll be upgraded to a full status of being in the game, I'm not sure. But he was in some part already in the game, so I'm not sure whether they'll give him extra. I think he'll probably be left out. Yeah, in terms of that, I think that's most of the returning monsters we're going to see. Again, this trailer was mostly concentrated on the new desert region for 4 Ultimate over Monster Hunter 4. And the new monsters that were coming out, or the returning monsters that were coming back. I didn't see, or I don't think I saw, any brand new monsters. Like brand new. They were just returning, or from what I could tell, extra subspecies to monsters that were already in Monster Hunter 4. Which, again, I kind of thought was going to happen. Glad to see I was right in some respects. But I think if there are any brand new monsters, Capcom will probably keep that to themselves for a little bit, or maybe not even bring it out at all. Just have it wait to the release, and then we'll see what we have then. But I think with the returning monster, I can't remember what number I said, and I'm too lazy to look it up this early in the morning, but I think in the last video I said there was one less monster in Monster Hunter 4 than there was in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. So with the addition of at least 4 new monsters, large monsters that being, that I think will, if I'm right, puts it to 3 more than Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. So this is potentially looking like a game that is going to break the record for having the most monsters in it. I think Freedom Unite still had more, maybe? I can't remember. But it looks like we're well on the way to having a very, very big game on a very small console. Never mind, I'll stop talking about that. But again, the PSP, similar in size, it had less than what the 3DS has, and it had so many monsters on it. Then a lot of monsters were taken away, and there was it 35 monsters in Monster Hunter Tri, and then it sort of doubled, or more than doubled, for Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and now we're sort of getting extra little nitpicks of new monsters in the next game. So it's looking like there's going to be a lot to do, and hopefully with a lot to do means that G rank will also return as well. There's no indication of that. It's difficult to tell from gameplay, but that's what I'm assuming. G rank will return for this expansion game, as it has in the past. That's kind of the trend that's gone so far with Monster Hunter games. But the only trend that hasn't held true to date is that there is usually a global release. In terms of the generations, there's a global release, then a Japanese only release, and then an expansion game for worldwide release again. This kind of, the 4th generation has kind of skipped that first worldwide release and went straight to the Japanese release. So whether this is again going to be another 3-game generation, or whether it's going to get cut short to 2 and then we're going to go straight to the 5th generation, not sure, because this game is looking pretty big. It's going to maybe be hard to expand it, other than to bring more monsters back from the older games. maybe put in some new subspecies or some extra new monsters. Maybe like a subspecies for Brachydios. That'd be nice to see. A bit pain to see, but it'd be nice to see. I'm not sure what the idea is with that, but like I said, we've sort of skipped that first game, and we've gone through straight to the second game and now to the expansion. So I'm not sure, but to wrap up this video, there's a bit more going on with the quest that you're seeing. So this was Mountain in the Desert. Like I said, I recorded it ages ago. I just didn't get to do the voiceover for quite some time. So this, yeah, like I said, this was Mountain in the Desert. It's obviously in the desert region in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. And what was I using? I was using the Zeth Agnagun, I believe, heavy bow gun. And I think I'm doing pretty well up to now. I'm running out of resources, so there's a little bit while left on this video. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I will let you enjoy, or not enjoy, the rest of this video and see how I got on. Surely I didn't upload a failure. Who knows? Who knows? We shall see. But for now, that will be it. And I will see you on my next video. I'm planning a couple of extra things, not just Monster Hunter videos for my channel now. So hopefully they will be coming to my channel more frequently than what this video did from my last one. But yeah, that is about it for this video. So as usual, I will keep you posted as much as I can on any further developments with the new game, do extra videos, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.